How's everybody doing today? Um, Thank you for joining us. Uh, I'm Michael Walliser. This is Julia McKinley here. She'll be running some of the demos. And yeah, we're just going to give a minute or two for everyone else to hop in. I see we got a couple of you here already. Um, yeah, we'll just give it a minute and go from there. Hey, welcome. All right. Looking good. Just had another person hop in. And Julia, what's your thoughts? You want to go ahead and we can get started on this?
Yeah, sure. I posted the link to the spreadsheet in the chat already.
All right, excellent. Yeah, guys, we've got a spreadsheet in there so that you can follow along. Um, and then, if you want to use your own contacts, you can just upload them in that spreadsheet from there. And we'll go ahead and get going. It's going to be a dive in the contacts and tagging that we have. If you're joining us from Doorify, thank you. I see several of you in here. If you're already on the EasyDigz platform, also in the right room. This is the foundation of everything that you're going to do through the remaining of these sessions in the webinar series. All of the email sequences and pipelines and automation, it all depends on what we build here today. So how it's going to work is we have 13 slides with 3 separate checkpoints and where you'll be going and the work in your you'll be doing the work inside your own account alongside Julia. We're not here for fluff or theory. Everything here you can use tomorrow morning. Go ahead and drop any questions in the chat and we'll go ahead and get it answered from there. Additionally, Julia just mentioned she's got that CSV in the chat, so you can use that to follow along and as a template. First stat of the day, 85% of clients say they would absolutely use their realtor again for their next transaction, yet fewer than 20% actually do. If we sit with that gap for 1 second, it's not really a service problem. The clients liked us enough at the closing table to say they'd come back. It's a contact problem. They forgot about you, and sometimes it's because we forgot about them, not really on purpose. We got busy with the next deal, and the one following that, 4 years later, they said they were ready to sell their house, and your name wasn't the first one that came up. It was another person in the network or another person who had been staying in touch. The fix isn't working harder at the closing table. The fix is a system that keeps you in front of every past client without you having to remember to do it. If you have clear and consistent contact, it helps every time. If you can build out some campaigns that reach out to that person exactly where they're at and what position in their home ownership journey they're in, you're going to win that time and time again. You can't drip on a list that isn't segmented or organized. And so we're going to do that by tagging all of our contacts and organizing them in a database that's way better than a pile of business cards in a drawer. The kicker, in 2025, the NAR Realtors Technology Survey said that CRM is number 2 lead generating technology in our industry. 23% of agents name it. But what that number actually means is the vast majority of agents are already running inconsistent, half built, half trusted CRMs. The 85% gap is the same problem showing up in the data. If we were collectively better at a CRM, it would be the number 1 lead source. And agents who got there would stop spending the bulk of their marketing budget closing brand new leads because their past clients and sphere would be feeding them the next deal. Lead acquisition is the most expensive thing that you'll do in real estate, and a working CRM is the cheapest substitute. 66% of agents who adopt new technology do it primarily to save time. The tool you're learning today is one that closes that gap between the 85 that said that they would use you and the 20 that actually do. And let's decrease your acquisition costs at the same time. Why it matters more even in our specific market. We're a net migration in market. I just published on LinkedIn last night talking about we have $4 billion in net income that's coming into the North Carolina. And that was in the 23 to 24 era. We don't have updated IRS information. But when we think about that, that is your pipeline moving here. And we're not just working with local buyers. We're working with California seller who's also an NC buyer. We're working with a New Jersey relocation that needs schools in Apex by August. You're working with a New York tech transplant who's heard of RTP, but has never set foot in it, doesn't know whether to live in Cary or Durham, and doesn't know what a 15-minute commute looks like at 3 p.m. or 6 p.m. You need to translate that into real life. And if those leads land in your inbox at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday and they all live in one undifferentiated list called leads, you're going to respond to them in the wrong order. You're going to prioritize the messaging incorrectly, and you're going to send the wrong emails. You're going to lose at least one of those leads, probably the relocation, because they move fast and they're shopping multiple agents in the same hour. Sorry about that. So that's what we're going to talk today is about that response prioritization. And that's what taggings do. That's what lead source tracking does. And by the end of this session, lead from Chapel Hill and a referral from your sphere and carry will look completely different in your system the moment they come in with different tags, different emails, different urgency. And that's our goal today, not a theory, is a system that handles the next 5 leads while you're showing a property. We're going to go here. Chapter 1 is the import. It's your contact database. Before we tag anything, before anyone touches the pipeline, we need bodies in the system. Most of you are coming in with contacts in a spreadsheet, in an old CRM, in your phone, on the back of that open house sign-in sheet from 2022. Today, we're getting them out of all of those places and sticking them in one place. EasyDigz supports manual CSV and individual record creation. I want to be crystal clear on one thing. We are manually touching all of our leads and tags this time through. We're not asking for you to use automatically scraped contacts from Gmail or other separate lists. You're going to touch them all for at least once for at least 10 seconds in the next 90 minutes or in the next 60 minutes, however long this, it takes you to get through this. Instead of one, you're going to end up with a list that instead of it being cluttered from ghost data from a bunch of different sources that you don't trust and you don't know how to communicate with, instead, you're going to have a consolidated list of people that you're willing to work specifically with and you understand where their journey's at right now and start meeting them where they're at. I'm going to stop sharing right now, and Julia is going to pull her screen up. If you guys don't mind, go ahead and pull up EasyDigz in another tab that you have. Use that CSV that Julia has in her sheet, and we're going to do this all together.
All right. So I'll get to sharing my screen here. Okay, this is our CSV. As you can see, we have first name, last name, and email. You can add a number of different categories that correspond with fields in our account settings. But for now, the only things that are required are first name, last name, and email for very obvious reasons. You can also add a birthday tab. You can add phone numbers, the business they work for, et cetera, where they live, where they're interested in living. The more information you feed into the CSV, the more will transfer over to your accounts. So I'm going to go ahead and download this. Oh, before I do, I want to point out really quick that we have some intentional mistakes in this spreadsheet. So we have we have one email for 2 different contacts. And then we have a phone number with a letter in it. And this is intentional to show you guys all of the blocks we have in place so that you're not uploading bad data into your CSV. So I'm going to go, and this is also very important. Make sure that you're downloading this as a CSV, not in Excel. I'm going to take this. Here is our home screen. I'm going to go in admin. Up here at the top navigation bar, we have accounts and bulk upload contacts. So we click this, we have a lot of different options for where you want to get contacts from, but we're specifically talking about CSVs today. So let's go there. And we can drag and drop. Otherwise, you can find it in your browser somewhere. As you notice here, we have first name, last name as account name. Yes, these are headers. They are not data. So account name is going to be first name plus last name, the email 1 value, phonetic last name, close, but not quite, phone value. And then as you can see, there's other corresponding information that you could fill in should you choose to, whatever's relevant to your business. Okay, so here it caught the email. What we're going to do is we're going to edit. So row 6, David Wilson. Yep, that's right. Row 10, that is incorrect. So I'm going to go find my contacts. There it is. And then I will copy and paste that in. So that's right. That's the correct email. And here we're going to edit inline. I happen to know that this is actually a 5, so let's change that. And then we can proceed. This way, it's very clear you're not uploading incorrect data. 06. Let's apply. Okay. So this is our tag section. This is really important for categorizing your leads, especially if you're downloading, say, like more than 100 contacts at once. So we can put the tag Chapel Hill. These are Chapel Hill contacts, and these are first-time home buyers. If we have another tag that you can come up with in the moment, let's say they're also interested in Carborough, and I don't have Carborough on here. So let's create that tag, and it automatically is selected. Continue to preview. Here we are. Confirm stat import. Look, as we can see, there's 2 contacts that it is catching that. Are these the same contact? Yes, let's merge these contacts. Continue import. Again, this is all about keeping your data nice and precise in your CRM. So we're going to go to an account. Let's go to Michael's and go to account name. When you click on a particular account, it will show. Oh, here we go. So this is Mike's account. We can see he was a referral. If we scroll down, again, we have this tags section. So say I've spoken to Michael recently. He is an investment buyer. He normally buys in Cary, but right now he just informed me that he's interested in a property in Mebane. So I'm going to add a Mebane tag here. And that way, should I have properties in Mebane, we'll discuss later what the real importance of these tags are, but it's just to keep information readily available to you, and we'll continue on that later. Really important, we have to come down to the bottom and hit save changes, or the tag will not save. So we have now saved everything. One cool thing about this account is we can go to linked opportunities. This is perhaps a deal that we closed a couple years ago. You can pull this up and you can get all the information on this particular property, what the close dates were, etc. This is you can also go to similar opportunities. You can also access all of his documentation here, all linked to his profile. So I'm going to go back to accounts. If we look at tags, so here we have all of the tags that we've created. These are particularly important for, like I said, making email sequences. But let's just go in here and we can look up, let's see, McKinley, that's me. Search. These are the tags that is accounted under. If we go to first-time home buyer, assign tag, here we go. So I will look up my McKinley contacts. So say this is actually my brother and me, but if you have a couple people looking for a particular property, so now you've added that to your tags for new time home buyer. And here are all of your new time home buyer contacts. So this is particularly important for when you are setting up a drip campaign. And I will go over to emails to show you how that works. Okay. If you're setting up a drip campaign, let's go new campaign, pre-built sequence. We have an open house or buyer nurture. We can go first time home buyer. Here you can see all the emails that'll go out and the pacing for these emails. Use this sequence. We're going to say new homes and ignore my capitalization. Here we go. This is where this becomes really relevant. So you have a new sequence that you want to send out to all your new time home buyers. You go to manage audience, tags, first time home buyer. All of those contacts automatically get uploaded. Let's save. Go back, new homes, and start. And your email campaign started automatically. So let's go back to accounts. And let's look up Michael again. You can see which tags are associated with Michael. And we can, okay, here we go. Linked opportunities again. So this is just kind of how we make a very steady streamline around all of your user information and how you can use tags to set up email campaigns. All right, back to you, Michael.
Cool. Julia, thank you so much for covering that. I'm going to go ahead and pull my screen back up if you give me a second to get that running. Awesome. And cool. So Julia went ahead and moved us through what it looks like to upload a contact and also what it looks like to provide individual tags or some bulk tagging to some of those contacts based on how it is that you plan on using them. She's walked us through the tour of the native tags and kind of the things that we already include, as well as adding a custom tag for geography or your market or where that client might be from or moving to, and you can segment those lists and outreach accordingly. And let's make this clear. Every tag should map to a decision. If you can't finish this sentence of, I'm building this tag because in the next 30 days, I'll need to send X to everyone, don't build it. The two role tags that we add from the get-go, just make sure that you're working with as few tags as you can to start with and only build the necessary ones as you move on. If you end up with an iterative list of 80 tags and you don't know what any of them reference to or who's attached to which one, you won't end up trusting the system and being able to go back through it. And I want to be clear, in the sample CSV that we provided, we provided you 10 contacts and they're just dummy contacts for you to go in and see what this is like. You can additionally use the CSV that we provided you as your template. If you guys are using that template, when you do go to upload bulk contacts, you can just click that Google format because we have some pre-selected formats. If you do that, it makes some of your mapping even easier. As you guys saw, we do have conflict resolution as those contacts do come into the platform. And we just want to make sure that once it gets in there, and it's clean. I do realize there are some of you that may not have, may have a list of contacts that you don't have any contact information for. It's automatically going to flag those because if we don't have a way to reach out to them, are they really a contact? And what kind of messaging are you going to be able to have with it? So if it does flag those, you're going to need to input real and valid data for either their email or their phone number. And that's going to help you a lot with how you sort and how you profile each one of your contacts. We've been able to walk through how geographic, tags kind of help what you're doing in and kind of like the buyer intent or the seller intent or where you might have met them. Julie, one of the things that we have in the account itself is, for example, I'll pull up right here. We also have the account source. And this is kind of building on that pipeline and understanding your advertising a little bit as well, is because if you can enter an account source and know, hey, this is what I'm doing that's turning the needle on bringing me more clients, bringing me more revenue. If you don't know where your clients are coming from, you don't know where your ad spend is going to be, and it's really difficult to build your pipeline moving on. So I just wanted to kind of cover those account sources, and so I could say that I got Julia from Google AdWords. It's great. Enter her birthday information and websites and whatever else. I think she's already covered everything else in here. and business profiles, the industry, etc. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on those real quick. And I will say that account source really can help your advertising and marketing budget, and it compounds month over month, year over year. Because as you can tailor your marketing towards exactly what is bringing you the best ROI, it pays off time and time again. So I just looking for a quick raise of hands of anybody in the chat if we've been able to follow along, or does anybody have any questions so far? Just wanted to give people a chance to kind of raise their head and if anyone's had any problems. All right. Looking pretty solid. It's a great group of people to follow along. Got some thumbs up. That's awesome. Cool. So I'll go ahead and close that back out. And so we've moved along pretty far. We're 20 minutes in. So guys, we'll just start with kind of where we're at. Your database is live and your tags are in. Your account sources, just review and check them. Everyone's clear on this point and where we sit right now. The thing that we're going to move in next is not necessarily how some of these future functions work, but why it's beneficial to have an CRM that's integrated directly with your transaction management and your property search, your IDX, everything else. Most CRMs lose people because they treat your contact list and the deal as the same thing, and they're not. The act of transacting a property is a lot more involved than just sending updates and emails. And I think you'll start to see the difference in what EasyDigz provide after seeing what we have here today. How it works initially is we have that contact, which we refer to as that account. That's an individual person. Julian, McKinley, me, we're individual people. Your past clients, your sphere, your leads, and that account is permanent. It's all of the people that you've done business with, that you hope to do business with, etc. And as you carry that history forward, it's the front door into what happens next. When Julia decides to buy a house, she'll spawn what we refer to as an opportunity, and it's a buying transaction. And when I decide to sell a house, it'll spawn a listing, and you'll be able to see that within the transaction. One account can have many of either. A buyer who's looking at 3 properties has 3 opportunities tied to one account. An investor who's selling 6 properties over 2 years, you'll be able to see all of those listings tied to one account. Julia kind of referenced that there in the linked opportunities below, but just wanted you guys to be clear that this is a direct transition into your actual deal flow. The benefits of this is instead of having your clients switch off between platforms as they move through this stage of transaction with you, they keep one centralized point. I know in a previous webinar, we also touched on how each one of your accounts will have their own centralized dashboards where they can see all of their favorites and save searches, etc., and deal flow. But this is just one way that we're trying to consolidate all of that trust that you've been able to build with your clients over time and centralize it in one spot that's branded in your name. As we move into the checkpoint 3, we're not going to walk you through the pipeline stages. We have an entire session on the opportunity and a whole nother one on the listing flow. The stages are different because buying and selling are different jobs. Today is about seeing the architecture and what it is you're going to set up and how this affects your accounts. You're going to be able to see the opportunities and listings linked to it. I think Julia already has displayed that. And when you leave, you'll know where to find your pipeline. You'll know what spawns out of it, and you'll know which future webinars to come to for the deep dive. So here we go. We're going to move on checkpoint 3, which is the accounts, opportunities, and the listings. We're just, again, breezing over this so you understand what it is. And Julia, do you want me to cover this? You want to pull your screen back up?
I can pull my screen back up.
All right.
I have minimized it. Do you want to get started and I'll find my screen really quick?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So,
Yep.
yeah, really what we're going to is an account list, and I can just pull this up.
I got it.
Oh, you got
I'll
it?
pull it
All
up if you wanna continue to dictate it.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
So she'll be pulling up kind of this account that she has right here. And from there, you guys saw that she had like a linked account or the linked opportunities to that. And as she pulls that up,
Here we go. Linked opportunities.
yeah, you can see these are all direct transactions and properties that she's been involved in. as she clicks through to each one of them, here is what it would look like directly from your CRM into your transaction management. We're storing all of your clients' data, all of the property information on the properties that they're interested in, everything that you need to know about the transaction, including when your inspections are, when your due diligence date is up, your documents that are involved, all your transaction documents are going to be included all the way through. These are all pre-populated with information from both Doorify and public tax records and your CRM. So that way we know how to manage and do all of it. It really is a really seamless way to get in and out of those contacts. And the really nice thing about it here is you can directly draw a line from which one of your tags or which one of your campaigns are directly affecting your deal flow and how each one of those deal flows are going. Additionally, she can see at the top similar opportunities in the center, just next to documents. That is for that one contact. It would say, hey, if you have a contact who's made multiple bids on different properties, whatever that is, you would be able to see those pull up there. And I'm sorry, it's not available at the moment. But yeah, we try and be as inclusive as possible so that way you can back and forward check all the way through and really understand where your rates of return are coming on your marketing, on your advertising, on your outreach, etc. From there, we've got, she's gone through the opportunities. And Julie, if you just want to quick cover listings, just show them listings and kind of so that way they can kind of see how some of that deal flow is different as well. We'll be able to look in here and you guys will notice there's a completely different pipeline for listings because there's a lot more due diligence that comes in ahead of time. You also have to get all of your inspections scheduled, or you also have to get all of your pre-listing photography done and everything else. So we have links in there for, pre-inspections, for surveys, appraisals, whatever that is you might need to do. We have 8 stages in the buying workflow and 13 stages in the listing workflow. You can see all of them in future webinars. And yeah, cool. If we go back to account, you should be able to see linked accounts if you go through opportunities. Yeah, or whichever works really. Sorry, I threw you off there.
No problem.
Oh yeah, but if you're in here and you want to see what that linked account is, you can see all those linked assets on the right hand side, right over here. So you know who you're working with, what account that is, how everything operates, and cool. The next thing that we've got is kind of pipeline hygiene. And we want to pause for a second on what Julia has just gone through. This is really what's going to separate brokers who have discipline and get value from their CRM and the ones who just kind of let it rot. Architecture only works if you actually use it. When the contact starts a transaction with you, this opportunity and listings automatically spawn with whichever way that they're moving. You have to move these stages, and when that deal closes, you have to close it out and not let it sit under contract for 9 months before you do anything else. The pipeline hygiene is very real. If you have 47 active opportunities that are actually doing something, it tells you something about your business every day and every morning. A pipeline with 47 opportunities, half of which closed 3 months ago and half of which died in due diligence and nobody updated, tells you nothing, and worse off, it is actually lying to you about your business and your pipeline. If you spend 5 minutes a week, just pick a day. I like Monday mornings, just to kind of open up your views, try and understand where you're at in your deals, and you ask yourself, where is it actually? Have I updated this? Is this information correct? If yes, great. If no, just put it where it needs to be. We've made the entire process super easy. You just click through and you'll be good to go. Julie's covered opportunities here. Does anyone have any questions about this part right here? I'll open that chat back up and see what we've got. All right, cool. I've got a thumbs up. All right. Well, guys, we are moving quite quickly. Let's just talk about this. If anyone has any questions, and then from there I can kind of cover some habits that set you aside. I'll go back to sharing my screen if that's all right, Julie. I think that's the last of the screen. What? Cool. And we're going to cover 3 habits right now that kind of separate people who get value. The first, all of it, is the spreadsheet. Go ahead and block 2 hours. Go through it. If you have fields or information that's on the spreadsheet that isn't mapping in, don't delete that spreadsheet. The first things you're going to want to do is just pull out those, um, pull out those columns that are matching with what you need. Go ahead and import them and save that original spreadsheet, because we have a myriad of information available within the account. It'll be an excellent resource for you to just know where everything sits as of right now. Just do it. If you only have a third of your contacts within your CRM, the rest of them are either going to take too much of your time to go back and look at, or you're going to end up forgetting about them. And we don't want to do either of those things. And second, really is go ahead and tag while you're creating this. It makes it so much easier while you're in there, while you're dealing with the person. You can relate to exactly where they're at. And to get started, maybe takes a second to wrap your head around it, but I promise you it is worthwhile to start with a clean and curated environment. And really, the last one is kind of that pipeline hygiene that we were talking about, making sure that all of your opportunities and listings align with your CRM, just kind of looking through it, making sure everything's in the right place. We do additionally have a full calendar. Oh, I just realized I wasn't sharing, guys. Sorry for that. Uh, my bad. And yeah, in addition to that, we have like a full calendar pipeline that'll show you on your dashboard where all of your inspections are, what showings you have, what surveys you have coming, closing dates, due diligence, etc. Let's go ahead and just remind you that 66% of agents adopt tech to save time, and you'll get that back in orders of magnitude after you've put in the discipline. EasyDigz will start earning its keep in month 2. Week 1, you're earning it by how much hygiene you put into this from the beginning. And let's go ahead and talk about what's coming next. We have email sequences and automation, which is kind of building a little bit on what Julia was showing in those drip campaigns. We have 168 pre-built templates, 33 ready to launch sequences. All of it sends out in less than 60 seconds based on your tag, client information, etc. We really want you to understand the value that can be had by a clean contact database that you trust in order to build this on top of, and how much value it really can bring to both your clients and you. In the next session, we'll be kind of turning on some of those triggers. We'll be talking about sequences. We'll be mapping, all the templates and how we need it. And we'll go through what it looks like to customize some of this. The automations really start to bring value when your contacts are well sorted and your pipeline is honest. If you're uploading a bunch of people and just sending random stuff to them, it is likely not going to return you the value that you intend. And just before Thursday, I would like for you guys to just log in once more, confirm all your import is complete, and confirm your tags are on, have at least one contact with linked opportunity or listing. The easiest way to do that is for you guys to go ahead and just click on the buy now button or sell now, kind of familiarize yourself with that workflow. And yeah, we'll be happy to answer questions about all of that as we move forward. Additionally, we have a full webinar, which will be longer than this, on that buying workflow and that listing workflow, to kind of show you guys and display how much goes into getting everything scheduled, adding it to everybody's calendar, having a centralized client portal branded in your name where they can see what's next and what's going on. It really allows you to keep all of your clients completely up to date and really understand, that you are operating with their best interests at heart. So really, we're gonna, from here, we're running about 7 minutes ahead of schedule. Wanted to open it up, see if anybody had any questions, and yeah, go from there. I know we've kind of checked on it a few times already, but yeah.
It's a pretty straightforward topic, but it is so critical that your data is clean and that your lists are complete. Like Michael said, spend a couple hours making sure that your contact lists are up to date and they have all the required information. And I can't tell you, especially if you're uploading a huge amount of contacts, those tags are so critical. They can save you so much time when you're creating lists, which is another thing we'll cover in the next webinar.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really does. I think our limit as of right now is 2,000. Is that right, Julia? On
I
how
think
many we
that's the
can?
At once, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say, yeah, 2000 at one time. When it comes to the conflict resolution, we have the ability to do that. I don't think that it's in your best interest, mainly because people end up when they're trying to do that, they get lazy and they tag all of them in one way or another, and that's not a differentiator. So really, what I would ask you guys to do is break it down into really good consolidated lists. When you go in and tag each one, you can personally touch each piece. You understand, hey, this person actually, I don't think that they're really probably interested. Last conversation we had, they're probably not buying in carry anymore. And so you can just say, hey, instead of doing a carry direct campaign based on that, now I just know that this person, I'm going to send them a happy birthday and just keep in general contact. So be really sure that you're diligent about, kind of how you're importing those. We did get a question in here about importing from, you name it. People are asking a myriad of questions. But like we'll use, Lion Desk or Chime, for example. Anyone that allows you to export your contacts into a CSV. Once you have that, you can either try and do the mapping, as you import that CSV raw. You can choose one of the other formats that we have available, and or you can format it into the template that Julia shared in the chat earlier. And yeah, if you have thousands of contacts, reach out. Like if it's just a question of, hey, this is difficult and I'm lost, we are more than happy to help you with, anything you need on getting that set up. And yeah, just let us know. We'll go ahead and include it. Additionally, everyone on this call, for all this webinar series, everyone on the call is getting a free trial on Doorify. So feel free to just, utilize it, set it up. We're not charging you anything until you decide you want to move forward with it as your platform. So, let's see
I
what
would say
other.
that I would say that getting a new website and having a new CRM is a great opportunity to touch base with past clients, to bring them into your new site, let them know that what you've been working on. They can look at listings, and of course we've covered this in the past, but the customer experience on EasyDigz is really transparent. So
Yeah, it's the natural language searches that we have built in, the save searches, the natural, the image matching that we have on the Easy Matcher. These are all search experiences that we promise you your clients will like. We've got a raised hand. Let me see what's going on here. Yeah, I'm gonna put you on, Kimberly. Yeah, how are you doing today?
All right. I was wondering, would this be recorded?
Yes, ma'am. This entire webinar is recorded, and you guys will get a copy of it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Cool. Yeah, and so you guys will receive a copy of it. It does take a little while to process the recordings through, but we try and get them out to all attendees. And in addition to that, we publish a lot of these with minor edits on our YouTube page as well, so you guys will be able to see it there. Yeah, cool. I'm not seeing any other questions coming through. Yes, you can. We had a question about phone. You absolutely can. Yeah, everything that we have is optimized for mobile, so you can do this from anywhere. Having done it, if you're doing a couple of contacts, great. I would not suggest trying to upload 100 contacts from your phone. You're probably better off with a bigger screen that you can actually look at that data. But yeah, we are fully mobile optimized. You can absolutely add and edit your contacts, go through all that directly from your phone. Well, we are now running 20 minutes ahead of schedule. If anyone feels like sticking around, you're welcome to. But if we don't have any other questions, we might be calling it here. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. As we said before, everyone here should have access to that CSV on the chat. If you're seeing this, after the webinar, please reach out. We can give you that template CSV. It makes it really easy to walk through and just kind of understand, how columns are mapped, etc. And yeah, happy to answer any questions. If you guys just reach out, schedule some time with Julia to sit down and understand your business a bit better. Thank you all.